Okay, so good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on what side of the world you are. For Ava, it will be good morning. For us, it's afternoon. And welcome to the session that we've organized from the Connecting Women in Digital Initiative with the Global STEM Women and the Women's STEM Congress initiative as well. So really looking forward to getting into today's topic, which is around from gaps to guidance and measuring the unmeasured and how we can transform STEM inequality within this. I'm delighted to be sharing the floor today with Eva. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brendan Rowan. I am part of the BluSpecs team behind the Connecting Women in Digital Initiative, joined by many other great partners, and I'll be guiding us through today's webinar and looking forward to getting into the details there. So today we're very lucky to have Eva, who is joining us to give us her view and experience for many, many years in collecting data on what's happening around girls in STEM and women in STEM careers as well. So we're really looking forward to the alignment with our mission within Connecting Women in Digital and to hear from her firsthand what the experience is and what's the takeaways that we can have from it. So we will have a short introduction from both of us about who we are or who our initiatives are and where they're coming from. Then I'm going to hand the floor over to Eva, who will give us her presentation on how collecting data is in practice and what they've learned, having repeated this on many different occasions across many different areas. And I'll give Eva a chance to explain that in a second. We'll have a short discussion on takeaways, a chance for you all to give some Q&A. So please do add it to the chat. And we'll close at around 10 to 3 unless we have some more questions as well. So we're looking forward to get into it. And before I begin and allow Eva to take the floor, I want to just do a quick intro to what is the Connecting Women in Digital Initiative. Connecting Women in Digital Initiative has been funded by the European Union as part of the digital programme. We're around for 2 years to help really provide a platform for action and change. And when I was putting together the slide, I was thinking, how can we build a big, grand, ambitious mission? And actually, it boils down to one thing. How can we get more women into digital roles and women staying in digital roles? Very simple. That's our mission, and how can we make it happen? So we operate across 3 things. So the data, which is obviously the topic of today, will be around the Women in Digital Index, which is going to be published next month, where we're tracking the progress from STEM education through to digital leadership. The Women Digital Forum, which is the European level network of experts that you can all join and participate to help bring light and action and recommendations from the challenges, and the Women in Digital Summit, but more of that a bit later. A quick call, if any of you on the call today who already aren't a member of the Women Digital Forum, please feel welcome to sign up and join us. It's open to all experts in the topic across all the areas that we deal in. It operates across these thematic working groups. The first 2 are happening already and are up and running. The next 2 will be launched shortly, and it's a chance for everyone to get involved. But also we want to perform that opportunity to network amongst each other. And with that, I'll come back to the summit a bit later. I want to now hand the floor to Eva. So first of all, Eva, who are you and what do you do?
I'm Eva Díaz. I live now in Canada, but I'm from Barcelona, from Spain. I moved here 4 years ago, and I started the initiative, the STEM Women Congress, 7 years ago in Barcelona. I'm a journalist. By my career goes to the STEM path always. I've been working always in the industry and in the different institutions about engineering especially. And that's almost it, no?
No, and tell us then more about the Women's STEM Congress. Tell me more about what it is that the Women's STEM Congress does, what's the background, and where are you at now currently?
Yeah, we started this initiative because it was an action from my company. I'm an entrepreneur for helping more women and girls to be in STEM. And we tried to help someone that was doing already that, no? And when we did a list of all the initiatives that we know and we can help, we discovered there were so many. And then the question was, if there are so many, why we're still the same, no? What the numbers didn't change. And then we decided to create this STEM Women Congress. It was a point of meeting where everyone can know each other and find synergies, because we realized there were so many initiatives that they were doing the same or almost the same, maybe with differences in territories or targets, and they can collaborate, but they didn't do it, no? And that was the first point of creating the STEM Women Congress. That was 7 years ago. Pandemic hit, you know, we did that everything online, but it was a huge success. The first event, we had 300 people coming to the event. It's like, okay, there is a need in the market. Someone see that this is something that is going to be useful. And we explained that we want to do this report about what is doing everyone, who is where, you know, like a who is who for everyone that was doing the STEM initiative. We start doing our mental frame was Spain, of course, because we started in Spain. Even that the domain was always European, because we thought, okay, maybe one day we will be bigger, but we never thought. Now we are in 7 countries, 3 different continents, and it's huge. No, now we are growing a lot.
The ball is rolling, as you say, and there's lots to get into there. And you said you're across 7 countries at the moment. And how many initiatives do you have mapped already?
Now we have more than 800 initiatives, different initiatives, and we have, during the 7 years, we have, let's say, we have created some knowledge about them, okay, different classification, different segments, and give us a different perspective. Sometimes when we talk about initiatives, we are talking about programs, especially about programs that are promoting STEM, because for us, we saw that there are 2 different kind of initiatives. One more focused on, let's say, the curriculum, and to make, for example, math funnier, or you know, like the subjects, they are more focused on the teachers, on give resources to teachers to make the STEM subjects more available, or more easy, in an easy way for the students, right? But there are other initiatives that are more focused on promoting STEM, why this matters, why STEM matters, and to link especially the industry and the world to the students, you know, to show them that this is a market. No, this is an area in the society that needs professionals, and you can have a career and you can develop your career there.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the parts that we're also looking at, which is those push and pull factors, you know, is in why is the career not as attractive as it should be? And that's kind of what's the pull factors going on there, and we hope to obviously unpick that and look forward to those types of conversations. And I suppose now maybe I hand over to you, Eva, the floor to kind of give us your data journey and the experience you've had. I can share the slides for you, and you can just let me know when you want to pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here we go. So go ahead and take us on this journey through the data and all the pain that we have in trying to compare
But
initiatives.
the pain and the joy, I wouldn't say the joy,
Yes.
because when we have the results, and we always show the result in the STEM Women Congress, this is a congress that we show the data every year, we saw the faces of everyone is like, oh my God, I didn't know that, you know, and that's let's say that is the gift that we got, you know, for having all this work every year. If you can pass to the next slide. This is something that we all know, no? The gender gap persists. We were this last weekend in a conference, and we were talking like not even our daughters, not our granddaughters, not our great-granddaughters are going to see the equity in the STEM, no? And this is something painful, no? And we want to accelerate the change. It's something that if we can change and we can contribute to accelerate this, we are going to try. And this is the we have, has this goal of mind. We want to contribute, but also if we can accelerate the change, is something that we are going to be really happy. No, if you can pass. This is the question that activates or ignites all the project, you know, is there are so many initiatives, why we're still having the same data? And that make us question, what is an initiative? What are we doing? What are the numbers and the data that we have, you know? And we realize, analyzing all the initiatives, that there were so many, if you pass, that there are some initiatives that we can call it like purple washing actions or pink washing actions. We don't know what this is, no? We are going to do the photo. Okay, it's nice. Okay, next year, no? We will see what is happening, but it didn't have a purpose, or it didn't have a real change or real action in the initiative, no? We want to avoid that, and then we want to focus on knowing what actions are more efficient to get these women and these girls in STEM, no? If you can pass. For that, all our reports this year, we created a glossary, and I think it's really interesting because for us, 7 years doing the same, there are words and kind of concepts that we already know and thought that they were there. But this year we did for first time the STEM Women Annual Report in Canada, and we have like new eyes looking at the report and make us thought, okay, you are right. We are talking about that, but we never define this concept for us, no? I want you to know that the report that we do every year in every country, we are in 7 countries. We're in Spain, Portugal, Italy, in Europe. Then we have Canada, Colombia, Brazil, and Ecuador now, okay? But the report is only in these 6 countries, the first 6 countries that I told you. We call it the STEM Women Annual Report. It's a national report with all the initiatives or programs, STEM programs, that are working for having more girls and women in STEM. Then the word impact, what means impact, okay, is a metric that we use in the report that is to estimate the number of beneficiaries or the individuals that are reached for these initiatives or these programs, okay? And what is a STEM program or STEM initiative? Is a let's say, like, is a more structured set of activities, you know, that maybe a university or maybe an organization, maybe a government, maybe a company are creating for working on these goals that we are talking now, no, to having more girls and women in STEM. If you can pass. But when we start doing that, we realize sometimes that there are 2 different paths about the STEM. What we were talking before in the introduction. We have the STEM initiatives, the educational programs that are more inside, let's say, or they're more responsibility of the ministries of education, no, are more formal, because we cannot, we don't pretend to show to teach the kids how to do an equation. No, we don't want that, you know. There is the other kind of STEM initiative that are the promotion of the STEM, that explains why STEM matters. These are the ones that were more focused, okay? Because on the educational path, there are a lot of initiatives, more focused on the students and the teachers, but we are more focused on the promotion of STEM. Why? Because we have applied methodology that comes for the marketing to try to get some new data on the problem of the lack of female talent in STEM. If you can pass. Then our goal when we started this initiative, and especially this report, is to know how many girls who attend a STEM promotion program chooses a STEM career pathway. This is a new data that nobody had in 7 years ago. And it was difficult to imagine because even the ecosystem was diverse and was not structured, you know. And coming from this history, I can tell you that we have improved as an ecosystem. Okay, everyone is more conscious about doing programs that are not pinkwashing actions. They are trying to get some goals and also to KPIs, no, that you can measure what we are doing. And this is really, really interesting, and I think it's a really a good improvement, no, for the system. No? But it's not an easy way to do it, and this is what we try to do. Okay, if you pass, we will show what we have on mind. From the marketing perspective, you always work with the funnel sales, no? or funnel promotion. No? If you, for example, want to sell an apartment, for selling this apartment, maybe you need 10 visits. For having 10 visits, you need 100 calls. No? And for these 100 calls, maybe you need an advertisement that reach 1 million people, right? This will be our funnel. If we apply this to the STEM problem, no, the lack of females in STEM, let's say that we have a goal of having how many girls, how many women in a STEM. Let's put a number, okay? Then we have to try to relate on the base, For sure, what we know now, without knowing any data, if you want this number, the base has to be bigger, right? This is something that is obvious, okay? I can tell you now with our numbers, and for example, of the initiatives that are working the target from 0 to 16 years, that we call it inspirational, okay, because we try to get these inspirations of these kids to become STEM professionals. In Spain, last year we reached 150,000 kids, okay? But if you compare this number with all the population from 0 to 16 is only at 2%. Then the base that we can have to promote the STEM in these ages is not this number, is only at 2%, right? Then what are we surprised that we don't have enough STEM professionals? You know what the relation? This is what we are trying to know. Then, and this number, this yellow base, is what we are trying to measure. Okay, this is the how many girls or how many women, because we measure all the we call it the STEM journey from 0 to professional or maturity phases. Okay, are reached by a STEM initiative, and how this is convert in the number of professionals that are staying there. The thing is, we don't know yet how many girls who attend to this number, to these initiatives, are converting in professionals. What we know, we all know, is the number of enrollees in STEM careers, and also the number of STEM women in task force. Then now we know how many girls are doing initiatives, okay, or are reached by these initiatives. Then we are trying now to get this number, this conversion factor, from this number to the number that we already got from universities or college, okay? And also, we need this number to get collected year after year to create this prediction model, right? If you can pass, to know that, we have created this new system, okay? As I say, is a new data. Nobody cared before about this data. We are caring now. What are these initiatives doing? That what this STEM promotion program doing? When we have this database of initiatives, we ask them through a survey on our STEM Atlas. It's a platform, a digital platform. What are they doing? Okay, and we get this data. With this data, we create the annual report. It's a report, but we can create other reports, or we can add other layers to the report, because now it's a software, and of course we can cross these different data, right? In this report, we can identify the gaps on the country, on the promotion of the STEM in the country. I will go further in the different data that we got from there. But one of them, what you can see is the map, is the territories that are more, let's say, they have more impact or less impact of this initiative. But also, as I told you, collecting this data year after year is going to allow us to have a predictive model that is going to be good for us as countries, because we can know how much STEM professionals we will have in the future, right? In Spain, that is the longest the country that we have been doing this report for the longest. We know now, and we are not wrong, and that is good for us, because then the methodology is working, that in 2025 the number of STEM enrollees, okay, has increased a little, okay. That's good, because we can relate that with initiatives that reach the younger girls. And now we have this conversion, and we are going to start, having this conversion factor. And of course, having this data allow us to create new initiatives. For example, like the STEM tour, I will explain later, that goes to rural areas, because we saw in the map that is something that is missing. No? If you can pass. For now, as I told you, we are monitoring 100 different initiatives plus. We are in 3 segments. We classify them in inspirational, from 0 to where the mandatory age of education is mandatory in every country. And this is also talent. We talk about that, because every country has different mandatory ages. Okay, then the initiatives, the promotion of the initiatives that are based on careers. Let's say the target is the STEM professionals. Okay, but also the STEM students in university or college. Okay, it's not that they are kids; they are already, like, say, grown-ups or adults. Okay, and then also the initiatives that are focused on helping to have more entrepreneurs in the STEM. No, as you see from the 6 awards that we have now, 3 are in Europe and 3 are in other countries and in different continents. But I think it's really interesting to see also these different points of view. So sometimes Europe is more, let's say, related or close, in numbers, on trends. But it's also interesting to see how other countries and how other cultures that they approach education, and also the introduction in the market for the new professionals. They are doing things, or they are doing these practices that are different from us. No, if you can pass. The current challenges that we have faced during this report, for sure, is a centralized registry. Is something that we can solve with the STEM Atlas, because this is the software that allows you to register there, and you only have, like, you have an ID, and this is your ID. You cannot answer twice the inquiry. It's not going to be confused with another initiative. That is something that happens in the past for us. Okay, and we learn from that, and we create this platform. Also, something that is challenging is that different data that all the countries are collecting through the National Statistic Institutes, because they collect it differently. They also publish it differently. Sometimes there are in institutes or countries that they are publishing every year, but some they are publishing every 2 years. That is a challenge, to for example, especially when we cross data of the report with actual or current data of the statistics of the country. And also, we found out that we have a lack of data, especially in the vocational and technical education, that are not careers, that are, like, they are not university degrees. Okay, this is something that is not clear. Sometimes we don't have the same information like we have in universities. Okay, and also we discovered, and it's something that we can help. And I told you we have been improving in general, because we found out that that the lack of, let's say, culture of measurement. No, I think this is interesting, because we train the initiatives to know how to be measured and what they have to measure to can answer our inquiry. No, and it helps everyone to have these KPIs, because then we can have, like, a more standardized system for everyone to compare data between us. And of course, this is something that we talk with you, Brendan. That is the tracking. The longitudinal tracking is difficult, especially in minors, because we cannot track them for ethical and legal issues. But also, we found out that we have invisible groups. This is something that is different. I'm based now in Canada. In Canada and the States, they collect data about, for example, race or ethnicities or religion, and at the best, from point of view of an European, it's like, okay, only that is racist, not to collect this data. But then they have a point. For example, Brazil was really important for them to collect this data, because if not, they are not giving visibility to these minorities, right? And I thought, okay, that is interesting, because if not, we are in a minority group and we are not giving more visibility to the minorities in the minority, right? This is something that is a challenge, and I guess this deserves a debate, between all of us, to see if we have to collect this data or not, or if it's worth it or not. No, if you can pass. Then, for example, I'm going to show you 3 different kind of data that we collect in our report. For example, is that these data, even that they are focused on gender, we want to know if they are only focused on women, or they also reach women and men, let's say boys and girls, right? And in Spain, we have a 41% of all the initiatives are reaching men, only women. Okay, the rest is men and women. Then you can see that the gender-based initiative, the promotion of the promotion, they are promoting these careers in both. No, like, they are not only focusing on we are doing good for all the society, right? in Portugal is even bigger, and in Italy, for example, is even bigger. They don't have like exclusive actions only for women. During when you are in a, let's say, no mature country that we are not facing, or we are starting working on gender policies, you can see that, there is only a few actions because they are starting. When you are growing, you see that sometimes you need to do actions that are only, let's say, positive discrimination on this minority to help them to reach the visibility or the goal that you want. Then again, when everything is done, the country balances itself, and then you can have other initiatives that are more for everyone, right? If you pass, this is an interesting graph for all the initiatives that are answering the questionnaire. We ask them how many individuals they have, okay, they have reached. And we put it between, we call it the STEM journey from 0 to, let's say, 99, and we collect this, where are the bigger group of people that they are reaching. You can see in the three countries, from 0 to 6 years, we have a gap. Okay, and the social reports, they say that from 0 to 6 is when boys and girls, they decide this is for boys and this is for girls. Then this is a bias. Then when we act, for example, in 10 to 12 years old, we see that we have to also not only show what are the STEM, also to break this bias that they already have built in their minds, right? Then there is another thing that is interesting, that sometimes you can see that countries that are starting, for example, in promoting or having diversity in their companies, because usually what we saw in the STEM promotion actions or initiatives is the very beginners that we started with, that they are the industry, right? Because they need to incorporate this talent, this diversity in their companies, because for the objectives of development, they want to demonstrate that they are more diverse. They are looking for this talent. They realize they don't have it. Then they started doing actions to have this talent. But when they started from the last part of the graph that you see here, for example, like Portugal, then they realize that it's too late. They have to start it when they are little, because we don't have enough, like I told you, in the base, no, in the base of the funnel. And this is something that is interesting to analyze, and also to check and to compare between countries, because, for example, Portugal, they are doing a great job engaging girls in STEM, but not from the promotion in the school, then they don't need to do extra actions, but you have to put that in context. When we do all this data, we also do a focus group with everyone in the country, with our ambassadors and people that is related, because we need to understand why this is happening and what we have this data. If you want to pass, then this is the territory. This is something, when we put that, it's like, oh my God, this is one more, it's like, let's say, surprising, but it's not. Now we have like a trend that is everywhere. We can check it, and I can tell you that this is everywhere in every country, that we have more promotion of the STEMs in the capitals. Of course, it makes sense. We have more people, we have more industry, we have more activities there, but sometimes it's a big difference, And for the reason, we have to try to do different things, because if not, we are not reaching the base of the funnel. This is what we are trying to do. We have two different, let's say, lines of actions. Is a school. Every school has to have an initiative. Let's say every collective of people in the schools have to know what are the STEM. We need to reach them with a STEM promotion action. And also every company has to have an action to promote STEM, in different targets. This is what we are doing. And based on that, for example, in Spain, you can see like the light purple here. These are the more rural areas, right? And if you pass, last year we do an action that is called the STEM tour by Volkswagen. We call them and say, look, we need a ban, and say, no, we are doing more than give you a ban. We are coming with you. We are going to do the project with you. And in 1 month, We did 3,000 kilometers. We went to the rural areas with an electrical van. We visit 7 different regions, and we reached 1,250 kids in the rural areas. And some schools, I can tell you, they will only have 8 kids. Is a lot of effort, and sometimes it takes us 2 days to arrive to this school, because they are far away. But it was an amazing action. They were so thankful because nobody goes there, It's like, and these kids needs more confidence, self-confidence. It's like, okay, somebody that is someone that is important, that is from this company, because in the band we had female executive, STEM executive from Volkswagen, for example, at the CEO or the CISO, no? Like they go there, like, oh my God, we have these people here visiting us. It means that we are important, And it has made a really big difference, honestly. And this year we have repeated this action with new schools because we want to reach new schools. If you can pass, we put all this data that I told you. It can be like a little too much, but we put it in the context, okay, that I always say after work, we always enjoy. And what brings us together is science and technology. This is what is the STEM Women Congress. We present the data of their annual report, but also we enjoy being together. We have role models, we have talks, we have panels, and it really raises the voice of STEM, and especially give visibility to role models that sometimes they are hidden big for the structures or for the big companies that they are nobody. No, we want them to see to see the light and to bright on the stage, and we help them to reach this light. If you can pass. I think our proposal, and especially the SWAR, has a lot of value, especially for policymakers. I put here governments, but also is useful for companies. If you want to do something and you want to make a difference, take a look to the SWAR. You will have some ideas where are the gaps and something that you can do that nobody is doing, no? And it will be an innovation in the system, and maybe together doing these kind of things more focused, we can do a real change, right? But especially for government, I think it can identify the gaps. Also, you can create new funding lines based on the gaps. I think can be interesting too, and also to track if these policies or that you are doing, they are being effective or not. Then the last one, the recommendations, I will say that, yeah, we need to harmonize this gender disaggregated STEM data. We are doing this job, but we need more help. For example, we were talking the other day with the group that, for example, if we had all the universities and all the bed centers, if they can have a question only in the registration process, like, have you never ever been in a STEM activity before choosing this career? That will help, because we can track the data and we can have more effective data. And of course, create the shared impact indicators like we do in the congresses. The annual report is free. You can download it from our website. Also link like I told, the public funding or the private funding to the measurable outcomes and the gaps. And of course, promote the good practices, especially the role models. This is something that is really effective. Or the micro-mentoring actions. When it's closer, especially girls need to have more confidence, is one of the things that we have realized in all the activities, that is the missing key, to become a STEM professional. And the last one, if anyone wants to join us and to help, we are here. We are open to have people that can help us, to volunteers or ideas to have more data. That's all. You're mute.
Yes. Thank you so much, Eva. I have 100 comments and questions that I can ask you just based on what you presented. But maybe if I just check in on in the chat. So I think maybe a question here from Paula. So Paula was saying, that she's a researcher of STEM in early childhood, and she was saying that the children from age 0 to 6. She's wondering, are there any initiatives that you've tracked in that age group yet? Because you say it's a lower area. Is there anything there?
Yes, there is. And every time it's getting more. And the good thing that I love is like when we present this data on the Congress next year, there are some initiatives focused on the gap that are presenting because we have a contest of initiatives in the Congress, and it makes me really happy, because someone listens to us and do what we are expecting, as a group. And yes, there are some initiatives. For example, there is a program that is called STEM, for example, in the north of Spain, and they go to the schools and they break the bias, of what is doing, for example, a man and a woman in a family, why the kid, a guy cannot care about the kids, at home. They are breaking these barriers, but also on the STEM professions, For example, there is another initiative that I remember is called from the calculators, the Casio calculators. They do an activity. They ask you, for example, close your eyes and think about an astronaut. What is the face that you see? Is a guy? Is a girl? Usually, even myself, the first time I saw a guy, and I thought, oh, no, I'm gonna not regular thinking. I want a girl to be an astronaut, right? But when you are with the closed eyes, the first thought that comes to you, that hits you, is a guy. This is something that is changing. And there are some reports that now asking the little ones what is an astronaut or what is a doctor. Now they are drawing more girls, more women in these professions than before. That is a KPI that we can track, but it's difficult, to know that. But yes, there are some initiatives, but they are still the lowest.
And I think we have the next one is from Anastasia. So Anastasia comes from Cyprus and she represents the Girls in STEAM Academy. And she was saying that they've been working with 14 to 16 who are now going into university and they've been tracking. So I think it's really interesting to see that across the board, this area of tracking actually is important. And Anastasia, I think you were saying there, yes, I'm sorry. I think you were saying there, Anastasia, that like it's helping you actually then tailor a bit more of the programs and initiatives. So very, very interesting to see this is something that you can do, and hopefully we can start to link up a bit better. But I think also one of the interesting parts was from Danielle, because you mentioned very clearly, Eva, around the vocational training and the professional training links and how that's quite a challenge. So looking forward, Danielle was just mentioning that Generation, which of course is an NGO, which is working towards this, is looking at how they can measure the impact. I think we can continue that discussion online. There's a hand up for someone to speak. So Lenka, maybe if I can allow you to speak, and also if anyone else wants to put their hand up, let me know and we can also give you the mic. So Lenka,
all right, thank
you. Or say?
Thank you. So my question was actually for Anastasia's comment in the chat, or maybe even Eva will be able to answer this, because I was actually interested in the comment of measuring the impact for girls aged 14 to 16. And we also have this, I guess, we would love to measure this and track this, their career and the way they are going further, but we have a very difficult time of communicating with this age group. Like, we are still, like, we've been for the past 2 years, I think we've been looking for the right, I guess, communication tool to use, because they're very hard to answer emails, they're very hard to answer to calls. And so in the programs that are very like close group of 15 to 20 girls, it's much easier to communicate with them. But in other programs where, like we have 1,500 girls or such, it's very difficult. So what are the ways that you use to measure impact for this age group of girls? Is my question.
We always we target the initiatives of the programs, right? This is something that, for example, if you are doing, we will try to help you to build this cap, how you get, or what is the information that we can get from you, or you can get from the girls, right? But it's difficult. It's difficult. I will say, for example, there is another point you are telling about 14 to 16, the first 2 years studying a STEM career, the girls feel so lonely and the drop off is 30%. Imagine we put our effort to get these girls in a STEM career and we lose the 30%. It's like, what? And there is a need of, for example, activities in the first 2 years of the career to help them to stay there, to finish. I will say from 14 to 16, what happens is in the teenage age is like they are trying to be so as far as different from the adults that they can. Okay, then everything that is structured is difficult to help to try to get them. Then I will say you have to find the leaders of the group, and if you find the leaders in this group, maybe they are going to help you to get this data from the other girls. But I will say it's difficult, and maybe something that is easy, or surveys that you can do on social media, so like 2-3 things that they can answer. That's the thing. If not, you're not getting more information about them, because they are like the most far of the system that you can find someone is at this age. They don't want to be part, they don't want to fit. In fact, they are reassuring themselves being not part of the system. You know what I mean? And it's difficult. Then I will recommend to do something that is easy, and you can do it by on a phone, answering from a smartphone. That will be the more effective way to collect this data.
Thanks, Eva, and thanks, and I go for the question. Anastasia, you wanted to come back in there, if you want to take the floor. You're muted, Anastasia, if you're speaking.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we
great.
can hear you. Go ahead.
So I wanted to address Lenka's question, because we totally understand. It's also very difficult for us to actually track our graduates from 4 or 5 years before. So for us, what works is 2 main things that may help you. The first one is that we try to maintain an instant messaging group. So for us, Viber group works best, where we have all our graduates so far. So it's like a community, a group chat community for all the girls that have participated in our program, and it works best because it's a very instant instant announcement of information. So we know for sure that teenage girls don't check their emails so often. So sometimes we do go in the chat and write, "Hi, please check your emails, blah 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 blah." So this actually is a very good way, and we actually get a lot of responses when we keep the chat active, but not spamming, of course. And the second thing is something that Eva has addressed as well, because our programs last 2 days, so they are just one weekend where they learn coding mostly, and they also meet women role models. We do not want for them to just come to the program for 2 days and just leave and then never be contacted again. So what we do is, after they finish the program, they join our alumni network, where we have different opportunities throughout the year. So it's not just a once-off program, precisely because we do understand that it's very, very frequent for a girl to be inspired, and then due to lack of support, to just quit that interest. So I think that if you keep them engaged and inspired throughout the year, it's more likely for them to actually come and answer whatever you want them to answer. And we try to make the forms, to track the impact, we try to make the forms very short and user friendly, so that they don't actually need 10 minutes. I mean, you know that young people's attention span right now is very short, so we try to meet them halfway, let's say, and we try to adjust to their age, let's say. I don't know if this makes sense. And I hope
perfect.
that I provided some important
Sure. Yeah.
feedback.
I think
Thank you.
you provided some really practical. In fact, I think Lara has just commented in the chat as well, very similarly, that it's about building the community. And I have to say, from our own experience of working in similar programs, the power of the WhatsApp group is very powerful. And having that WhatsApp group is actually that part of that continuity. It seems very simple, but does actually create that. And I think the continuity and bringing it there. Eva, I want to come back to you just because I have so many things I want to ask you. And so many things that we can pick up on. And even if we were to talk about the question of picking up on the comments from the people in the call, there's sometimes the balance between the data we'd like to have and the data we can have. And that kind of that gap, and we've experienced it many times that it would be great to know when we want to look at, for example, particularly in the topic of intersectionality, because from the point of view of digital and ICT, we know it's white, male, and middle class, and we're trying to deal with the male part, because the other parts are very difficult to match, and I don't know what your thoughts are there. How much can we really get that level of inclusivity in the data and even deal with it? I know from our own research it's been quite difficult, and even things around sexual identity and areas like that, it's impossible because culturally data is cultural.
Yeah, I agree. I was when we were preparing this webinar, I told you that I had an interview with the president of the Black Canadian physicians, and they told me that they have a problem when we had pandemic, because they only had 3% of the physicians, of the doctors here are Black, and the Black community were approached by, let's say, the majority of the white doctors saying you have to vaccinate. I said, okay, who are you to tell me that I have to vaccinate it? Especially for the long history, that they have suffered like a minority, and especially in science, that we don't have enough data for the minorities, right? And this is the importance of the diversity in the beginning of, for example, the research or the development of technology, right? And that also approach the data is difficult to have, for sure. It's not impossible. I guess it's not impossible. We can try to find a way, but sometimes we are, let's say, we are blocked or we are restrained by the law, and especially in Europe, we are more human-centered, I guess, from my comparison between continents. And I say, I felt good in Europe to have these rights, not to nobody knows if I'm white or I'm in whatever religion I am or whatever, But I guess this is also that because it's the privilege of invisibility, right? I'm not one that they have to take I'm not concerned about my race because I'm, let's say, the privileged ones, no? But when you are a minority, this is important because you want to know if your group is doing well. For example, here in Canada, it's a race movement of the Latinos in technology, we have few women, Latina women, that they are in charge in different technological companies. And I didn't know that, but they know, they try to track this data and they know that now. And it's something that is interesting because also you can go, as I told you, from the minority in the minority, But it's difficult. From our experience in these 7 years collecting data, I can tell you the first survey, oh my God, it was like we did the survey, the dream survey. We asked everything, and no. When we got the data, it's like, okay, what we are going to do with that, we don't have, and even we don't have data to compare with, it was really difficult. But we have learned from this process, and we have to be realistic. The system is not perfect because, for example, our system is based on the sample. Every year, we cannot compare every year with the year before. Why? Because there are different issues that they're answering. Some of them have died past year, because why? They don't have funds on their volunteer activities and they stop it, for any reason, and they are new initiatives. Then the sample is never the same, but we can get the trend, right? And this is what we are trying to do. Maybe it's not perfect, but it's a system, and it gives us information, and it gives us the gaps that we have now currently, at least it's something. It's not perfect, but we have, and I guess with artificial intelligence, now you can do really, really good things, crossing data and having the trends of the society, and especially with the statistics of the country.
I have to say, and I find it particularly interesting because you're dealing with STEM as a topic, and my own personal experience in moving out of chemistry into this world where you have to get comfortable with the data not being good enough, or just being good enough,
Yes.
because there is never going to be an ideal data set. And I think everyone is always a bit disappointed, and I think it's something that we have to always be very transparent, accountable, clear, so we can draw the right conclusions from what we've got. But the ideal data set and the ideal survey respondent who sits down and fills in, it's not there. And I think Anastasia was saying, the teenagers have no attention span. I have no attention span. I'm not going to sit down for 10 minutes and do a survey. But I do think it is there. And I'm just going to wrap up because I have two questions I want to ask you before we close today. So one is, where have you seen the quick wins that we can achieve? Because we've been talking about moving from, and I think in the chat there's been some discussions about, everyone is doing something, but we need to move forward. Where's the quick wins that you've seen from the initiatives across the board that's the simple, not the simple challenge, but at least a replicable way of dealing with the challenge? Yeah.
I will say that the thing that converts more is to have it's been related, okay, to have a role model and to build the self-confidence, okay. I think when someone believes in you, on this girl, and you are showing a path that you are there. For example, we like to put on the stage people that are from minorities, and they show them that it's possible, and I see the faces of these girls and of even women that are professionals. Okay, I can do that. For example, there are a lot of programs now that they are doing based on reskilling people that are professional, that are not in the STEM sectors, that they can switch to STEM sectors, right? And you see these faces, and it's like, okay, that's what is working. If you show them the path and you show them someone that has done this, and you increase the belief that they can also can do it, I think this is the main key of converting, because I think it's not a decision that you are based on data. You are based on feelings, and emotions that this transmit to you, and say, okay, I want to be like you, I want to do like what you do, and for example, I want to be better than you. The other day was a little girl say, I'm going to be better than you. Amazing, this is what they want, you are going to be better because now you are in better position than us, because with 5 years she was on the stage and said, look, in any of us, well, with 5 years we're in a congress, in a professional congress, speaking about the STEM, and you are. Say, yeah, because I'm going to be better than you. Say, okay, great. Fantastic.
Go for it.
That's
do it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think this is one of the key factors.
And I think as well, and I know you kind of picked up there on confidence and the question of retention. I know we've seen already a few times over the years, the critical mass is so important in terms of when you have a small group, especially, you say you work really hard to get girls into STEM courses or women into STEM careers, and this first few years where they need to have that area of confidence, but it comes from that critical mass of achievement. And we've seen, you can seed it with scholarships, you can change how you even manage the tutorials to make sure that the women aren't left on their own in the room. It really does help. But anyway, and I digress. The final question I have for you, and I'm going to ask this to every single guest on our events. Tomorrow, Eva, I hand you €1 million, and you have to spend it on one initiative or one type of action. And don't try and give me a politician's answer. I want to know one action that you would spend it on. What would be the one that would give the best best result for that €1 million?
I will say I want to my STEM atlas to reach all the countries. I want to have this data, to have this standardized system, because we can all see where are the gaps. But if I have to focus on, let's say, an action that is hand-on, I will say something that increase the self-confidence of the girls. This is the data that I'm not going never to have, because you cannot measure the self-confidence level of a person, right? Or we don't have a system yet. But I will say something that increase the self-confidence of these girls and women.
So to be discussed in our forum as well. What is this? What are these actions that do increase our self-confidence? Well, thank you so much, Eva, for taking the time to share with us today, and really love the fact that we're partnering together on this same challenge and journey. And looking forward to the next results, the next reports. We all love the data, absolutely. But before I go, I just want to advertise our summit, which is happening in 3 weeks' time, just 3 weeks. For anyone who isn't signed up, please do come and join us in Brussels. We have an incredible agenda where we will have, as Eva has said, role models from CTOs to CIOs, presenting on their experiences and journeys. We'll be talking about the first look at the Women in Digital Index from our side. Some of the best practice initiatives will be there, and also the assembly of the forum itself. So please do come and join and connect us in person, and registrations are still open. We are reaching capacity, but that's a good thing. And Eva, I think you also, Eva, you have your summit or your Congress in Spain is when?
Yeah, it's going to be November 19 in Barcelona. Everyone is invited. If you want to come, we are more than happy to have you.
Great. Thank you so much, Eva, for today. And
so
another
much.
day, I really want to talk about the bus. So next time we will talk about the bus and how you managed to make that happen. But that's for another session. And thank you all for joining us today.
Bye.
Bye.